Hey, good evening. John again. I'm playing Immaculate Grid, trying to hit that low rarity score. You know the game by now. The This episode's brought to you by my book, as it always is. Baseball's most fun frivolities. Link will be in the description down below. Let's just get into it. Had a quicker game yesterday, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, pretty good rarity score. I think it was like a 12. Let's hit refresh and get into it. Oh no. 200 strikeouts in a season. I thought I had longer time to get that one better. All right. Well, I'll do the best I can, but 200 strikeouts is going to be a pretty hard no promises from me. I'm gonna start with Pirates and White Sox because I got a pretty good one. Roberto Hernandez, the first. He played with both teams, takes less than 1%. And then we've got Pirates Royals. I know Matt Stairs worked, so I used him yesterday. And then you've got I've used the three people who were all involved in the same trade. It was Jay Bell, Joe Randa, and Jeff King were all Pirate Royals. They were traded before the '97 season. I think I've used Randa before. Um, what did we went with? We went with Reggie Sanders though. He played for both teams and goes less than 1%. And then let's see, Pirates and Nationals, which could also be Pirates and Expos. Moises Alou will work. I think Al Oliver would work. Um, how about how about Lastings Millage? He works, right? Good well, sort of a utility outfielder from the mid-aughts. I think he works. It's 2%. Okay, maybe I was better off with Al Oliver than Lastings Millage, which seems like a weird sentence to say out loud, but oh well. Moving on. Need a 300 batting average in a season from the White Sox, the Expos slash Nationals, and the Royals. I don't think not gonna get a really good one from like a reliever. Nothing's standing out to me, or even a starting pitcher who maybe goes 1 for 2 at some point. Um, for the White Sox, I want to see how many people, if for no other reason, I'm just curious how famous this season is. I'm gonna go with Carl Reynolds. He had a huge year around 1930-ish with the White Sox. He goes 0.02%. So that's a decent kept secret. He'll work for 100 RBI, he'll work for 200 hits. Huge year, but it was just 1 year. Um, and then for the Expos, we need a 300 season or the Nationals. Could be the Nationals. That's always allowed. How about Mark Grzelcyk? He hit 300 in the '96 season, I believe. He also had 200 hits that year. He goes under 1%. And then anyone from the Kansas City Royals. Rando will work here too. So will Johnny Damon. Um, so will like Alex Gordon will work, pretty sure. Lorenzo Cain will work. Randa seems like an attractive option though. Willie Wilson will work. He won the 1982 batting title by 1 point over Rob Yount. I'm not sure about Amos Otis. I think he probably did, and so did Al Cohen's, I think. Those are some 70s names. Hal McRae, another good 70s name. These are all very much more famous Royals, I think. I'm gonna go with Randa. 6.2%. Because I also knew he would work over here. So if you remember Joe Randa, you were probably going to play him here, I think. So I've gone less than 1% on everyone but Lastings Millage, the very popular Lastings Millage. Let's see here. Now we need 200 strikeouts. Um, as man, I'm trying to remember this one because the Royals and 200 strikeouts has come up before. There are only a few options. Greinke was one of them. And now I'm trying to remember if it was, I want to say Saberhagen didn't work, but and Apier barely did, like with 201. I think that was the nuance. David Cohn won't work because David Cohn, the I think well, maybe he'll work. 93-ish. I think Apier works though. Takes 7%. Um, 200 strikeouts. I think there's a few more options here. You got Strasburg and you've got Scherzer for sure. I think you probably also have Patrick Corbin. Um, I think you probably have Javier Vasquez circa 2001, and you have Pedro Martinez, and you have Dennis Martinez. I'm pretty sure on Dennis Martinez. Pedro struck out over 300 the year he won the Cy Young Award. Pedro seems too obvious. Strasburg and Scherzer both seem too obvious. Javier Vasquez seems like an educated guess. That's a guy who struck out a lot of guys in his career. I'm pretty sure he had 200 strikeout seasons. I don't know if they were with the Expos. Um, and then Dennis Martinez, same sort of deal. I think he'd probably work. And then on the White Sox side of the house, Chris Sale, he'll definitely work. But maybe too well. I don't think Burley works. He wasn't a big strikeout guy. Um, I wonder if there's someone from like the 1800s. There's probably someone, I'm going to call it now, from the 1800s with like 550 innings pitched and 206 strikeouts or something like that for the White Sox. Um, but I'm not remembering them. So, if I ever knew them to begin with. And then I don't know for sure about, say, Wilbur Wood. How about him? Knuckleballer, threw a ton of innings in the 70s. I mean Knuckleballer, I don't know how many strikeouts he had, but that seems like a reasonable pick. Let's see if he got there. Got there with 6%. Okay. And so the question is, how bold do I want to be with the Nationals? Do I want to play it fairly safe? I've got three options that I know all did it that I think will do pretty well. I'm pretty confident on Dennis Martinez. I'm semi-confident on Javier Vasquez. Um, but I know he at least one really good year in there with the I think it was '01 with the Expos. Um, and Dennis Martinez, I'm not even that sure about. Like I think he struck out a fair number of people, but also not now that I'm kind of rethinking it. I think I'm gonna swing for it. I'm gonna go with Vasquez, and we'll see how I do. I got it. All right. So there were, yeah, Strasburg takes 40%. I think Scherzer probably takes, a good chunk of the rest. That was the best done category, so I would have been among 5% of people if I had gotten it wrong, but I didn't. And I guess the hardest was White Sox and Pirates, which I got right away with Roberto Hernandez, who barely played for the Pirates. Rarity score of 18, pretty happy with that. Most of that was just coming from these guys. I guess about 2/3. And then Javi Vasquez was a great pick with 1%. Um, we can look at the others. Definitely could have done better on Nationals Pirates, but maybe I'll play Al Oliver later, see how he does. Uh yeah, well, I guess there were two others. There's Dennis Leonard and Bob Johnson. That's a name. Former just have a CEO named Bob Johnson. No, just kidding. Smith. Uh it's just and then I was right about Patrick Corbin. I glossed right over Corbin. I said him, but I glossed right over him. I think Corbin's a sneaky good pick because he's teammates with Scherzer and Strasburg. So, they're a lot more famous for striking out a lot of people. And then former Brewer Gio Gonzalez sneaks his way in here with 207 strikeouts. I remember the 20 wins, but I wasn't gonna be able to predict 200 strikeouts with a lot of confidence. And Vasquez actually did it a couple times. Jeff Fassero makes an appearance on here. That's pretty cool. And then I don't know, and I've heard of Steve Rogers. I haven't heard of these guys, but was not going to get any of these. Bill Stoneman. That's a name I'm going to save for the future. Bill Stoneman. And then for the White Sox, let's see if I was right about a guy from the 1880s with 500 innings and 200 strikeouts. Ed Walsh, who is a fairly famous player. I should have remembered him. Esteban Loaiza would have worked. And more recently, Dylan Cease and Lucas Giolito would have worked. I remember Esteban Loaiza's season very well. He started the All-Star game that year in Chicago. It's really snuck in. Like Wilbur Wood was actually the closest thing to that example because he had 210 strikeouts in 334 innings. I guess Ed Walsh was similar, 464 innings pitched to get his 269 strikeouts. All right. Well, lots of fun. Learn a little bit about the early 19. I should have realized the White Sox wouldn't have anyone from the 1800s since they didn't exist until 1901. So I was kind of thinking just old teams in general. But once again, fun game. And I'll be back at tomorrow. Thanks so much for playing. Peace.